7 popular exercises that might be quietly destroying your lower back. If you already have back pain, these can turn uncomfortable into "I can't get out of bed," and the worst part, most of them are the same exercises people copy from the internet without ever asking if their spine agrees. In this video, we are going to count down from number 7 to number 1, the exercises that are not exactly your lower back's best friends. We will see why they can be a problem, especially if you already have pain, what usually goes wrong, and what you can do instead so your spine does not pay the price for your workout. First, a quick tour of your spine. Your spine is not a straight metal rod. It has natural curves, a gentle inward curve in the neck, an outward curve in the upper back, and another inward curve in the lower back. Together they form something like a soft S. Between each pair of vertebrae you have discs, little cushions that help absorb load. These curves and discs exist so that when you stand, walk, jump, lift, or train, the forces are spread out instead of smashing straight down in one spot. When you exaggerate one curve too much or flatten it completely under load, you change how that force travels. Do it occasionally and your spine complains. Do it for years with heavy weight, and it may stop just complaining and start breaking down. So the goal of this video is not to ban exercises forever. The goal is to show you how certain movements become villains for your back, especially if you already have pain, and how to keep your spine on your side. Let's start with number 7. Number 7. Lying leg curl. The lying leg curl is a great exercise for the back of your thighs. The problem is not the machine. The problem is what people do on the machine. Many lifters, without even noticing, give a little extra butt lift off the bench when the weight gets heavy. That tiny move exaggerates the inward curve of the lower back. More arch may look powerful on Instagram, but your discs see it as extra compression exactly where they are already under load. Yes, arching your lower back to make it easier is exactly the kind of shortcut your spine hates. The fix is simple to describe and harder to stick to. Glue your hips to the pad. Think of gently tucking your pelvis toward the bench so your lower back stays in a neutral curve while your hamstrings do the work. If you cannot move the weight without lifting your hips, the weight is too heavy for your hamstrings and for your spine. Number 6. Ob wheel. The ob wheel can be a powerful tool for your core. It can also be a very efficient way to convince your lower back that you do not like it. In the first repetitions, your abs are fresh and you control your spine. As you roll out, your core holds your ribs and pelvis together and your lower back stays stable. But as fatigue sets in, the story changes. Your lower back starts to sag toward the floor. The curve in your lumbar spine grows, and suddenly your joints, not your abs, are taking the load. If your lower back is doing the work, it is not an ob exercise anymore. The solution is to respect your actual level. Shorten the range of motion so you can keep your ribs down and your lower back neutral on every rep. Use your knees instead of your feet on the floor if needed. And if you already have back pain, consider building a strong base with more stable core exercises, like dead bugs, planks, and ant rotation work, before you ask your spine to survive the ob wheel. Before we go to number 5, let's connect these dots. Your spine has curves for a reason. The discs between vertebrae are not designed to love endless bending under heavy load. They are better at handling compression when those natural curves are respected. Every time you exaggerate or reverse a curve under load, you trade stability for risk. Your spine is not a metal rod. It is more like a spring designed to spread the load. Number 5. Standing overhead shoulder press. Overhead pressing is excellent for building strong shoulders. The trap is that many people turn it into a full-body back bend with a barbell on top. They start the set upright, but as the weight gets heavy, the lower back arches more and more, the ribs flare, the pelvis tilts forward, and the lumbar spine becomes a hinge supporting the bar, your torso, and your ego. Now you have extra compression on the discs plus a poor joint position. And that is before we even talk about doing this with pre-existing lower back issues. If your shoulder press turns into a lower back bend, congratulations. You have just invented the spine press. If you love overhead pressing and want to keep it in your training, treat your core as part of the exercise, not an accessory. Squeeze your glutes, brace your abdominal wall as if preparing to take a punch, and think about keeping your ribs stacked over your pelvis. You can also press seated with back support. Reduce the weight, or use dumbbells with a neutral grip to make control easier, especially if your back is already complaining. Number 4. Squats of all kinds. Back squats, front squats, Smith squats, hack squats, Bulgarian split squats. Whenever you put weight on your shoulders or upper back, that load is traveling through your spine. When your technique is solid, squats can strengthen the muscles and bones that support your back. When your technique is off, they become an excellent way to speed run a visit to the orthopedist. The problem is not squatting. The problem is squatting heavy with a rounded or hyperextended lower back. If you descend into a squat and your lower back tucks under hard at the bottom, sometimes called a butt wink, with lots of weight on your shoulders, you are asking your discs to deal with compression and flexion at the same time. On the other extreme, forcing an exaggerated arch in your lower back under the bar also increases stress on the joints and discs. Your ego may love ugly, heavy squats. Your discs do not. The safer approach is to squat only as deep as your hips and ankles allow while your spine stays in a neutral curve. That might mean stopping a bit above where your favorite internet video tells you to stop. It might mean using less weight than the guy next to you. Your spine does not care how much weight is on the bar. It cares how that weight is distributed. Number 3. Bent over rows and other hinge-based rows. Rows are supposed to train your back muscles. Ironically, many people end up training their lower back joints instead. Discs were built to handle compression, one vertebra on top of another with a cushion in between. They are not fans of large shear forces, and the top vertebra wants to slide forward or backward over the one below. A sloppy bent-over row with a rounded spine and a heavy bar in your hands is almost a textbook example of shear plus bad posture. If you grab a bar, round your upper and lower back, and yank the weight with momentum, you're stacking shear forces on joints that are already under load. To make rows work for you instead of against you, you need two things: solid base and a neutral spine. Hinge at the hips, keep your chest proud without overarching the lower back, brace your core, and only then pick up the weight. Think of your spine as a thin pole in the middle, protected by a strong muscular belt all around. If that belt is loose, the pole takes the hit. Starting with lighter loads and higher control is not weakness. It is how you earn the right to pull heavy later, without giving your lower back a surprise. Number 2. Stiff leg deadlifts and good mornings. These exercises are loved for how hard they hit the hamstrings and glutes. They are also feared by physical therapists for how hard they can hit the lower back when pushed past a person's actual mobility. Here is what is supposed to happen. You hinge at the hips, your torso leans forward, and your hamstrings and glutes stretch and control the movement while your spine stays neutral up to a point. That is exactly what we want. Then you reach the end of your hip mobility, but you keep going anyway since your hips cannot flex more. Your body starts borrowing movement from your spine. The lower back rounds. The discs change position, and the load shifts from muscles that love it to joints that do not. If your hamstrings stop, you keep going, your spine is picking up the bill. When you do stiff leg deadlifts or good mornings, your job is to explore the mobility of your hips, not to test how far your lower back can bend under load. The moment your pelvis stops tilting and your lower back starts to round, that is your stopping point, with good technique and appropriate load. These exercises can strengthen the back of your body. With sloppy technique and stubborn range of motion chasing, they can become a fast track to irritation. Or worse. Number 1. Deadlift, villain and medicine at the same time. The conventional deadlift is the exercise that demands the most from your lumbar spine. It also has the biggest potential to hurt you if done badly and to help you if done right. In a deadlift, you often combine high load, a forward-leaning torso, a long lever arm, and in many cases, a rounded lower back. That is a lot of shear and a lot of compression on structures that were not designed for chaos. Add ego lifting and fatigue. You have a mix your spine will not enjoy, but that is only half the story. When you progressively strengthen the muscles that support your spine, multifidi, erector, spinae, and the rest of your core, your back can become more resilient. In some people with medical clearance and good coaching, deadlifts done properly act almost like a medicine. They load the system in a controlled way, and the system adapts by getting stronger. Deadlifts are like fire. Use them right and they cook your food. Use them wrong and they burn your house. That does not mean everyone with back pain should start deadlifting tomorrow. It means that, under the right conditions, with gradual progression and good form, even a scary exercise can be part of a stronger, more stable back. When someone has active pain, radiating symptoms, or a diagnosis like a severe disc herniation or inflammatory spinal disease, they need clearance and guidance before going anywhere near heavy pulls from the floor. And when should you avoid these exercises, or at least be extra cautious? If you have sharp back pain, pain that shoots down your leg, numbness, tingling, noticeable loss of strength, a history of significant disc problems, or diagnoses like spinal stenosis or inflammatory conditions, this video is not your green light to keep doing everything as usual. It is a list of red flags to discuss with your doctor or physical therapist. Even if you only have occasional discomfort, pay attention to what your back is telling you during and after training. Pain is not always a sign of damage, but it is rarely a sign that everything about your technique and load management is perfect. To wrap up, your spine has curves for a reason. Exercises are not automatically good or bad. Become friends or enemies of your lower back depending on how you load them, how you position your body, and whether your current capacity matches your ambition. Your ego may want to copy the heaviest lifter in the gym or the craziest workout you saw online. Your spine, however, is voting for controlled progress and good form. Use this list of 7 forbidden exercises as a checklist, not as a life sentence. Adjust your technique, adjust your load, and when in doubt, get professional eyes on your movement. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not personal medical or physiotherapy advice. If you have back pain, radiating symptoms, known spine problems, or any doubts about what you can safely do, talk to your doctor or a qualified physical therapist before changing your training. Your back has to last you a lifetime. Treat it like it matters.